Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Jamie. Welcome to my channel. Hey y'all, this is Jamie. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to just sit down and do a bit of a lesson on different makeup terms. So this is Makeup 101 terminology. But before we get into that, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video. Also make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like this video and would like to see more in this series. Alright, and also leave a comment down below if you do so wish. So without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, so the reasoning behind this video is that, as most of y'all know, I've only really gotten into makeup and the beauty industry in the last year. And when I first started watching beauty videos and makeup videos here on YouTube, I was a little confused sometimes because different terminology would be used that I had never heard of before, or I had never heard of in the context of makeup. There were a lot of things that I ended up having to Google, I ended up having to look up, or I ended up having to like really think about the context in which whoever I was watching was using it. So I thought that it would be kind of helpful if you are like this, if you are kind of new to beauty videos on YouTube, or if you're wanting to get into them. I thought this would be a nice video for y'all to watch to kind of learn a couple things and learn a few terms. So these are the top 10 makeup terms that I think you should know before watching a YouTube makeup video.
It is time to kick off the bake.
So, baking. I feel like baking is a word that we all know, but we may not know in the context of makeup. So, what baking is basically it's letting translucent powder sit on your face for 5 to 10 minutes so that the heat from your skin can set your makeup in place. So a lot of people do baking underneath their eyes. They bake their concealer. They might bake their foundation kind of along their cheeks. But it's a way to allow their makeup to last longer. When you're baking, you put basically an excessive amount of powder wherever you want to bake, and then you leave it for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, and then you sweep the remaining powder away. You dust the remaining powder away. Another reason why people bake a lot of the times is to have kind of that airbrush effect. So that is baking.
I'm gonna use that S116 powder from Makeup Forever to contour with.
I'm also gonna highlight since this is quite light.
All right, so the next term is contour and highlight. They're kind of two different terms, but I feel like they go hand in hand. So contour you typically do in order to darken shadows of your face, in order to make your nose or your cheekbones more defined. So it's supposed to kind of chisel out your face. So some people who feel like they have a wider nose like to contour their nose. Some people like to contour their cheekbones. So I contour my cheekbones sometimes because I do have a rounder face. So I like to give myself a little bit of a chiseled jaw, if you will. And then highlighting is supposed to bring light to the highlights or the high points of your face. So that could be your cheekbones, that could be the center of your forehead, it could be kind of down the bridge of your nose, the cupid's bow. You can highlight either with your concealer. So a lot of people highlight with their concealer. So they'll pick a concealer shade that is about 2 shades lighter than their skin tone. And you can also highlight with an actual highlighter. So a highlighting powder, a highlighting stick. Both contour and highlight is basically the highlights to make certain features pop. The contour is to darken certain features so that your face looks more chiseled and more defined.
I'm expecting a little bit of fallout with these shadows we're going to be using today, so I'm going to leave some extra.
Well, I'm pretty sure in every video in which somebody is using an eyeshadow palette, you will hear the term fallout. So fallout is pretty self-explanatory, but there is a difference between fallout and kick-up. Fallout is usually when a powder product falls onto your face, onto your cheeks, when you're trying to apply it to your eyes. Typically this occurs when you have either very pigmented shades. So typically shades that are very pigmented are a little more loosely pressed into the palette. So you do have a lot of kick up with those shades, and then you have a lot of fallout on the face with those shades, and it also typically happens with a lot of shimmer shades. So there are ways to deal with fallout. So first of all, you can do your eye makeup before you do the rest of your face. Because if you don't have anything on the rest of your face, if there's a lot of fallout, you can just take a makeup wipe and just wipe it off. That is one way to do it. There is also the powder trick, which comes from the drag community. It's similar to, it's basically baking. You basically put an excessive amount of powder right underneath your eyes. That way, if anything, if you do have any fallout, the powder will catch it so that when you dust away your powder, it'll dust away with it. Kick up is basically when the powder kicks up still in the palette. With subculture, there were a lot of people who had a lot of kick up. And that's basically all the powder was going up into the air, and people were mad about that because it's basically a waste of money and a waste of product. If it's all going all over the place and not on your eye, that's a waste of product. So kick up, a little bit of kick up is not that big of a deal, but if it's so much that you feel like you're having to blow away all of the product, and it's not actually going onto your eye, especially if it's a high-end, really expensive palette, then it can be a big deal.
Go ahead and swatch these for you so you can see. There are those three.
So swatching. This one is one that I feel like everybody does. You can basically swatch any product, foundation, concealer, eyeshadow, lipstick, basically anything, but it's a way to kind of test out the color, the blendability, and the formula, the texture of any product. When YouTubers swatch products, they're usually swatching it to show their viewers, to show their subscribers, what something looks like actually on the skin so that they can make their decisions on whether or not they want to buy it. If you are in a store and you are swatching yourself, definitely you want to swatch foundation so that you can make sure that you're getting the right shade. It's best to swatch a foundation on your chest rather than on your hand, because I think that's more closely suited towards what you need for your face.
Glow. I had not hit pan on yet, but I was like, I know I'm so close. I just want to hit pan on. That was my goal, was just to hit pan. And you guys, look at that pan.
All right, so hitting pan is pretty self-explanatory. It is a goal that a lot of makeup lovers strive to reach. It is a very satisfying moment when you have used pretty much all of your product to the point in which you can see the pan through the product. So hitting pan basically means finishing or almost finishing a product, to be able to see the bottom of the pan through the product. This is the e.l.f. stipple brush. All right, stippling. So this was one that I kind of had to look up when I first heard somebody talk about it, because I'm like, well, what is stippling? Because I'm not a painter either. So that is a term that is used in painting as well. So basically stippling is kind of dotting or padding a product. If you're a painter, it's padding or dotting paint. If you are a makeup artist or are using makeup, it's kind of padding or dotting the makeup into your skin. So if you use a beauty blender, that's basically a stippling motion. You're patting the product onto your skin. There also is a stippling brush. All right, so this right here is a stippling brush. So you usually have two different kinds of bristles with a stippling brush. The white bristles are a little bit thinner, are a little bit lighter, and then you have the black bristles, which are a little more dense and a little shorter. So basically, the white bristles are the ones that are going to pick up the product, and then it's what's going to deposit the product onto the skin. And then you pat them, you stipple onto the skin, and then once you have the product on there, you can push the product and disperse it on the rest of your face.
I'm gonna add a pop of blue into the waterline.
So tightline and waterline are another two terms that are kind of used hand in hand. Your waterline is basically right at the base of your lashes, and it goes all the way around your eye. So you can have a lower waterline and you have an upper waterline. So tightlining is when you put eyeliner on your top waterline. Many people, when they say, I'm gonna put this in my waterline, they're talking about the lower, and when they say I'm gonna tightline, they're talking about the upper.
Applicator, you feel very like shoop
You get it on and then it gets all over your face. It just gets everywhere. It collects in the inner corner, it smears, it feathers.
Bleeding when it applies to makeup, we usually talk about bleeding when we're talking about eyeliner or lip products. Eyeliner, when you draw a line with your eyeliner, you want it to be a nice straight line. So what happens when an eyeliner bleeds is that it kind of feathers out. So our skin is not completely smooth. It's not. It's got little ridges, it's got little crevices. If an eyeliner bleeds, it'll start going into some of those other crevices. So usually you can tell that just by drawing a line on your hand. So if you draw the line, if you wait for a couple of seconds and it starts kind of feathering out, that's not really a good eyeliner. If it happens on your hand, it's probably gonna happen on your eyes too. So it can bleed into the rest of your eye look. It can bleed into your actual eyes, which is not something that you want. So a lot of times with lip products, it'll just smudge outside of your lips. So a way to prevent this is by using a lip liner, and that kind of provides a barrier.
You really want to focus the overlining in the center of your lip.
So overline is pretty self-explanatory. Overlining is basically drawing outside the lines of your lips. People do it to give the illusion that they have fuller lips. A lot of times it is done, it's sometimes done to the lower lips, but a lot of times it's done to the upper lip. And so to overline, you can use a lip pencil to just draw slightly over that natural line, and then you fill it in and put your lip product on, and it makes your lips look a little bit fuller.
I'm just going to set the under eyes with this Pop Beauty Setting 101 palette.
And then for a setting spray, light refreshing mist that keeps makeup in place all day. Let's put it on the face.
Then lastly is setting. So setting is typically, I left this till last because it is usually the last step in your makeup process. You can set your makeup kind of throughout the whole process, but setting your makeup basically is done so that your makeup will last longer. So you're literally setting it in so that it's not going to budge from your face. So you can do this with powder. They have setting powders, and you can also do this with a spray. So the setting powders are typically used throughout the makeup application process. So you'll want to use a powder to set anything that is liquid, anything that can kind of move around. So a lot of people will use setting powder to set their concealer under their eyes, and then to set the rest of their face if they're wearing anything that is wet. Setting spray is the end step to the whole process, and it is used to limit reapplication. So it was first used in film and theater so that they wouldn't have to constantly reapply makeup for these actresses and actors. So it's supposed to help preserve your makeup through the heat, through sweating, anything like that. So you can also have different finishes for your setting spray. So if you tend to have oily skin, you can have a matte setting spray to kind of combat that oiliness throughout the day. And then if you have more dry skin, you can use a dewy setting spray to make your face look a little more moisturized. Alright, so those are the 10 makeup terms that you should know before you start watching a YouTube makeup or beauty video. Let me know if you would like to see some more, and I can definitely do that for y'all. This was terminology, but if y'all would like to see, you know, top ingredients that you should know or top products that you should know, definitely leave that in the comments and give this video a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video. Alright, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye y'all.